Hi, my name is Ian Burrell. I'm the Global Ambassador for Rum, and I'd like to thank you guys for joining us on this Facebook live tasting for a new rum. That's Equiano. If you haven't tried it before, then make sure you go out there and get a bottle. Go to the webpage, www.equianorum.com. You can order some rum there. If you do have a bottle at home, amazing, so you can do a tasting with me, and maybe even just post and let me know some of the tasting notes as we go through, or your tasting notes as we go through the tasting of this product. So as I said, my name is Ian Burrell. I'm the Global Ambassador for Rum. That just means I get to travel around the world. I work with the rum category, work with various different brands, promoting how great rum is, and and get paid for doing it. So it's not a bad job. I enjoy it. I love it. I love what I do as such. But what I do love about the rum category is that it's growing. It's people are really starting to understand what rum is about. It's one of the fastest growing spirit categories out there, and it's part of the sectors that are showing amazing growth of things like spice rums and flavored rums. But of course, the premium sector, rum is really starting to get appreciated for what it really is. So people don't mind paying a premium for rums when they know they've been made in the quality places, at quality distilleries with quality blenders and distillers. True aging as well. That's important. So we're talking about quality premium rums, and now being respected the same way as you may respect a single malt, or you may respect your cognacs or your other aged spirits out there. So speaking of premium rums, let's dive into the Equiano. Just before we actually talk about Equiano, I'm sure you all know what rum is out there. We all do, but at least we should all know that rum is made from a byproduct of sugarcane. It has to be made from either fresh sugarcane juice, syrup, or molasses. And depending on which country it's made in, there'll be certain rules and regulations to how it's made, and depending on where it's sold, and maybe those rules may be interpreted in a different way. Some people always say to me, or one of the questions I always get asked is, why doesn't rum have a global definition or global rules? Well, I always say, well, what spirit does, because whiskey doesn't have a global definition. Scottish whiskey is different from Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey is different from American whiskeys. American whiskeys are different from Canadian whiskeys. So whiskey doesn't have a definitive rule for all whiskeys, but regions do, and rums have that. Jamaica has rules and regulations of how their rums are made. Martinique has that. Madeira has that. Australia and Venezuela have rules and regulations to define what rums are. Puerto Rico, Cuba. So there are many areas around the world that have definitions of what rum is as such. So that's how we should be looking at rum as a category. If you want to make comparisons between, say, Scotch whiskey and rum, then pick a region. Say Scotch whiskey and Jamaica. That's more akin than, say, Scotch whiskey and then rum as whole. So let's get into the Equiano rum. So the Equiano rum is I wouldn't say it's a complex rum, but it's made in a complex way. It's a blend of rums from two different areas. We have rums from the African continent and rums from the Caribbean. And this is definitely one of the first I've ever heard of, because one of the questions that actually someone asked me is Equiano an exclusive? Is it a rum that hasn't been created before? But I just can't think of one. I just can't think of rum where they're blended rums from the African continent and the Caribbean. So it definitely is the world's first African Caribbean rum that I know of. But when we talk about African rums, we're talking about rums from the African continent. And one of the best places that in the world for me where rum is coming out of is Mauritius. So we started off in Mauritius there with some cognac cask rums. Send that all the way over to Barbados, where that's blended with some Barbados local rums at the Four Square Distillery, the award-winning Four Square Distillery. Blended together there, let to marry or rest for a little while, and then sent to the UK. So it's had a bit of a journey on those boats, traveling around the world to get from one place to another place to get into our glass. But let's go into the whole tasting aspect, because I know that you guys out there want to dive into the rum and taste it and then appreciate it, and then hopefully you're going to send in your comments of what you think about the rum and what you like about it. Tell me if you don't like it. I can listen to all types of things, because listen, there's a rum out there for everybody. So when I really go into appreciate a rum, I do sometimes look at the color. I also have to remember that some rums have a little bit of caramel inside there to give it color or to give it consistency of color. Equiano doesn't have any inside there at all. So no additives, no spices, no sugars, which is another question that's asked. Does Equiano have sugar inside there? No, the sweetness you get from the rum will be natural sweet rum, not sweetened. So once you whisk it around a little bit inside your glass, you'll see the legs come down, all the tiers, they come down really nice and thick. It shows really good aging. Sometimes you can even see, if you actually hold it up in a really nice, good light, you can see a green hue as the liquid hits the glass. Then I go into the nose, which is very important because 85 to 90% of your sense of taste comes from your sense of smell. So, wow. Yeah, on the nose, I'm picking up like dried fruit, sultanas and raisins. Oh, yes. Sweet toffee, butterscotch, a bit of caramel, vanilla. I also get a touch of orange peel. And one of my favorite notes I get, especially from rums from Barbados, especially from the Foursquare Distillery, is that buttered, I call it buttered sawdust, which is like, I imagine butter cream, butter, and you just sprinkle some sawdust on there. That's what I get from there on the palate. Oh, that's nice. I'm a bit biased because I do love a good rum, but on the palate, you get that natural sweet taste that you get from really good aged rums, like warm toffee, butterscotch, like chewy raisins, and a bit of brown sugar. Remember, when we do all these tastings, and you might be getting completely different notes, so it's great if you make a mental note, write them down, and say, no, I'm getting this in, I'm getting that, I'm not getting what you're getting. Where we all smell and appreciate things in different ways. And then the finish, once the liquid's gone, get a medium sweet, no, not medium sweet, medium dry. I say, yeah, medium dry finish. Get a little bit of tanning on the tongue, which is great. A dry bit of tannings means you're going to have another sip just to get the liquid back on there. Oak, anise, yeah, sweet pepper. Yeah, and also, more importantly, that little bitter orange right at the end as well. And the bitter orange is important. I love that bitter orange note. I use bitter orange or orange peel in a lot of drinks and cocktails. Actually, the drinks I'll make later after this will be have a component of orange in all three of them as such. But I do get a lot of that inside this rum. Some of the citrus notes that I pick up from this rum. But yeah, nice and light. I actually call rums like Equiano session rums. The reason why I call them session rums is because they're the type of rums you can have with your friends, and in a session, the bottle's finished. It's gone. You have to get another bottle because it just goes down so easy. 43% alcohol by volume, so not cask strength like I know a lot of rum lovers are now getting into, but this is something you can have with all your friends. Have it neat by itself with a couple cubes of ice, with your favorite mixer, or inside a cocktail, the way that you see fit. So that's one of the reasons why I love the Equiano rum. Oh, nice. So that's the Equiano rum tasting part, but not everyone can drink neat spirits. Some people want to drink their rums in a cocktail, and why not? So I think we should have a couple of cocktails. So it's the drink time, or as I like to call it, the drinky poos time. So one of the things I love about Equiano rum, it's just a versatile rum. It's a rum that you drink in any way that you see fit. It's actually, some people always say to me, Ian, is Equiano a sipping rum? I always like to say, no, it's not a sipping rum, it's a drinking rum. It's a rum that you can drink in any way you see fit, whether it's neat, whether it's on the rocks, whether your favorite mixer, or inside a cocktail. So here are 3 simple drinks I like to share with friends, and hopefully you might get to try some of these, or even give her your own twist or make your own version of this particular cocktails. So the first one is very, very simple. It's basically based on the rum highball, and everyone knows the rum and coke, the rum and tonic, the dark and stormy. So I'm actually going to do a twist on the last drink and actually call it the Equiano Golden Stormy, and that's using, of course, a golden rum instead of a dark rum, and also a little bit of ginger ale instead of ginger beer. So again, slight difference, slight twist. So I like to fill up my glass with ice first. Nice and simple, because it should be a nice whole refreshing drink. In fact, just before I put the last ice cube, what I also like to do with this particular drink, I like to add just a couple of lime wedges first, and add my last ice cube inside there. Then a good measure of Equiano rum. Excellent. As you can see, I'm not actually measuring this. If you are going to measure it, yeah, maybe do like 50 mils. But as I'm at home, I'm actually going to just pour it as I see fit. And again, with a simple highball, it's just topping up with your favorite mixer. I'm actually using one of my favorite ginger ales on this particular drink because with the Equiano Golden Storm, a ginger ale, I think works a little bit better than a ginger beer, less gingery, much more lighter because this is a light drink. So I'm actually using the Fever Tree spiced orange because the spiced orange note actually goes really well with the Equiano. Orange and Equiano, as you're going to see with a theme of all these drinks, is a match made in heaven. And just a twist of orange as a garnish, and then a straw. And this is it. Nice, easy, simple drink. It's the Equiano Golden Stormy, instead of Dark and Stormy, Golden Stormy. Equiano rum, ginger ale of your choice, and then a twist of orange and a couple wedges of lime. Nice and simple, easy drink to make, and a very refreshing drink to drink. So if you ever see me doing one of my rum talks or see me in a cocktail bar, you know that one of my favorite drinks is a daiquiri. Simple ingredients, rum, lime, and sugar. That's the actual rum trinity when it comes to cocktails. So this simple Equiano drink is based on the classic daiquiri. It uses 2 parts of Equiano. I will actually measure this one because when I make a daiquiri, I do like to try and be consistent with my measurements. So I'm going to do 50 mils of daiquiri, of Equiano rum. That's 2 parts of that. Then I'm going to use 1 part of fresh lime juice, freshly squeezed. And then just to give it that sweetness, I'm going to use some, instead of sugar or simple syrup, I'm actually going to use agave nectar. And one of the reasons why I like using agave nectar is because it gives like a really little earthiness to the actual daiquiri. So I'm going to use just half a measure of that, half part. If we're measuring it out, maybe about 12.5 mils, 12.5 to 10 mils. I also like to use 100% blue agave instead of the agave nectar. So again, really simple, rum, lime, and a sweetener of sugar. And just to get that little tiny twist, that Burrell twist, I'm going to use some orange bitters. Just 3 dashes of 1, 2, 3 orange bitters. Add some ice to that. And then give it a really good shake. Excellent. Oh, I smell that, those orange notes. Then just a little champagne coupe. I haven't actually double strained this drink. I like to single strain on my particular daiquiris, only because I like those little bits of ice on the top of my drink, just so as if I'm drinking this in a hot country, it melts away and adds a little bit of dilution on top of my favorite drink. Oh, absolutely amazing. And just to give it that little touch, that little finish, just a squeeze of orange zest just on top of the glass, just to bring out even more orange notes in. Oh, that's absolutely amazing. Ooh, I'm going to save that one for later. So that's the Burrell daiquiri, Equiano style. So there you have it, 2 easy drinks. And the final one is even easier. Well, it's fairly easy and it's just as tasty. It's actually based on one of my favorite styles of rum drinks and one of my favorite ways of drinking Equiano. And that's in a Negroni style of drink called a Right Hand, created in 2007 by Michael McElroy or McElroy, I think that's his name, Michael McElroy, in Milk and Honey in New York. So this is just a variation of that particular cocktail. So just like a Negroni, it uses Campari. Just going to use 25 mils of Campari. And just like a Negroni, it uses sweet vermouth. So 25 mils of sweet vermouth. Excellent. And instead of equal parts of gin, like a Negroni, this would actually use a double measure of rum. In this case, it's going to be Equiano, of course. Beautiful. There we go. So a good double measure of Equiano rum. And the slight difference from a Negroni is that we're going to add 1-2 dashes of chocolate bitters to the drink, just to give it that little bit of a tiered off, just to finish it off, and then we stir. Excellent. It's one of my, as I said, one of my favorite drinks. Let's put a little bit more ice inside there. Now it's going to be nice and cold. Extend that. There we go. That's perfect now. And then we can think about the Caribbean. We can think about the African continent. Think about African Caribbean rums, the world's first. Think of all those things while you're stirring the Equiano with the Campari, sweet vermouth, and the chocolate bitters. Excellent. Have a little. Oh, yes, that's ready now. Okay. And then we have our glass and we pour away. Oh, look at that. Beautiful looking drink. Just elegant. The liquid just glides from the mixing glass into your glass. And then I just always like to add a large wedge of orange. And then that's it. Nice and simple. Excellent. Oh, smells amazing. Tastes amazing. Oh, yes. Absolutely amazing. You know what? I know this cocktail's called The Right Hand, but we should actually give it an Equiano name. Maybe it should be a little competition for you guys out there. If you guys can actually give this cocktail a great name. It's simple. We've got the Equiano rum inside there. They've got the Campari. You've got the sweet vermouth, and you've got a couple dashes of chocolate bitters. So why not give this cocktail a name? Maybe what we'll do is send you a bottle, maybe as a prize, maybe even some tickets for Rumfest if you're lucky. So yeah, name this cocktail. Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely going to save this for later. Oh, let's put it over there. Back to the rum. So there's only a little bit more time left in this actual tasting. So I'm just going to answer a few questions that have been posted over the last 20 minutes or so as such. And there's one, let's have a quick sip. Oh, yes. There's one question that is asked by a lot of people, actually a few times, is what does Equiano mean? Where does the name come from? So it's a very, very inspiring story. So, Alado Equiano was an entrepreneur. He was a freedom fighter whose autobiography shaped history. And just like the rum, Equiano was born in Africa, traveled to the Caribbean, and then settled in the UK. He actually paved his way to liberation through selling puncheons of rum, and became a prominent figure in the freedom and abolition movement in Britain and over there in the United States. As one of the first African authors to have his work published, Equiano's powerful autobiography went on to inform the Transatlantic Slave Trade Act and impact the freedom of people all over the world. Freedom that many of us enjoy, but many are still fighting for, making his story as relevant to global conversation today as he was in the 1700s. In fact, the Equiano Rum Company feel great pride and honor to actually have his name adorning their bottle. The brand are actually giving 5% of company profits to ground level freedom and equality projects annually, and celebrating the man who we all aspire to be more like. So that's the reason why it's called Equiano. Powerful. Another question is, always get asked, is how old is Equiano rum? Well, the thing is with Equiano rum, it's not actually made to an age claim. It's actually made to a style. It's about maturity as opposed to an age claim. Some rums out there, of course, you'll see 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old on the label. And some other products, you'll see the numbers on the label that might depict an age claim when the actual product's not actually that old. This rum here is a 10-year-old rum that's been aged in limousine oak casks in Mauritius, and also an 8-year-old rum that's been aged in Barbados. And those have been blended together or vatted together, as some people like to say, vatted together. But if we were to put an age claim on there, we'd probably put an 8, only because the youngest rum in the blend is 8 years old. But there are rums in there that are like 12, 13 years old inside the actual blend. So we're actually making the rum to a style as opposed to an age claim. Another important thing to remember is this is 100% tropically aged. So all of the rums are aged in the tropics and evaporating at an alarming rate. If you compare that to a spirit, say that's aged in Scotland. In Scotland, they're losing about 2 to 3% of their spirit every year through evaporation. In Mauritius and in Barbados, they're losing about 6%, which is like double or sometimes even 3 times as much liquid in the same period of time. So this means that this rum here, although it's got rums in there from 8 to say 12, 13, 14 years old, it has a maturity, which is more important, the maturity of like a 20-year-old Scotch whiskey. So that's actually how old Equiano rum is. Oh, nice. And another question I always get is, who makes Equiano rum? Well, Equiano rum is a collaboration between 2 distilleries. You got the Gray's distillery in Mauritius, and we have the Foursquare distillery in Barbados. And why the Foursquare distillery? Well, if you're going to go to a rum distiller, why not go to the best? Why not go to the one that wins awards on a regular basis? Why not go to the one that's actually won the 3 biggest international awards for the last 3 years to actually make and blend your particular rum, especially if it's a new style of rum. So that's one of the reasons. That's the reason why this rum actually finishes up in Barbados, even though it starts off inside Africa, being the world's first African Caribbean rum. Which actually leads on to another question that was asked, is what makes Equiano unique? For the fact that it is the world's first. I mean, I've tasted rums from all over the world, but I've never actually tried a rum that is a blend of the African continent and the Caribbean region. We do get a lot of blended rums in the Caribbean from different islands. There are rums like the Veritas, which is a blend of Jamaica and Barbados. You have some of the old Navy rums, which are a blend of rums from the ex-English colonies that may have got taken down to London and blended down on the docks there. So they might have come from, say, Jamaica, Barbados and Guyana, maybe even possibly Trinidad. And of course, you get a lot of Central American rums now that get sent to brokers or blenders who will blend various different Central American rums to create a style. But no one's ever done a rum from the African continent and the Caribbean and put those together to come up with a unique blend. So that's another reason why Equiano rum is a unique rum. So hopefully that answers your question. So guys, I want to thank you for giving up your time, for being here with me, Ian Burrell, the Global Ambassador for Rum and Equiano Rum, to learn about the story, learn about the liquid, who makes it, how it's made. Hopefully you enjoyed your tasting. Please get back to us with your tasting notes, your ideas for the actual product and the brand, maybe some cocktail suggestions. That'd be great as well, because hey, nothing better than drinking a really good rum, either neat or in some cubes of ice or inside a cocktail. Just have another little sip. Yeah, and if you do want to find out more information about the rum, about the man himself, then go to either our website, www.equianorum.com, go to the Instagram page or go to the Facebook page, and just interact and learn more about the world's first African Caribbean rum, learn a little bit more about Mr. Entrepreneur, Mr. Freedom Fighter, Mr. Equiano. And yeah, we hopefully will see you on the other side of this pandemic for a rum. Cheers.